example of a lot of shows from that period in Hanna-Barbera, where Joe Barbera went into whoever was at NBC at the time and said, you know, we've got this great show about Casper the Ghost, and we've got this show about, they're like chips, except it's in the future, and they're ladies. They're lady space cops in the future.
Yeah.
And then he had a whole bunch of other stuff, usually involving a dog. And the network would say, you know, we really like this Casper show, but I'm really torn because we like this show about the lady space cops too. And Joe goes, no problem, I'll combine them onto one show. That's how we got the Shmoo, that's how we got the Teenage Thing with the thing ring, do your thing, lame stuff. And by the way, Tex Avery worked on that show, the great Tex Avery. So, I mean, you know, the product at Hanna-Barbera was the first thing I worked on was a Flintstones revival that was actually pretty good.
Yeah, the Fred and Barney
The
show.
writing wasn't top notch, but at least it was something fun to work on.
It was a fun show, yeah. It was.
But we you know what, you just got used to whether you worked on, and Floyd kind of talked me off the ceiling a few times when Casper started getting to me. Anyway.
Well, we had a good time on the Flintstones, though. I mean, it's kind of funny, they didn't call it the Flintstones. I don't know if there were legal reasons, but they called
the new Fred and Barney
Yeah,
show.
the new Fred and Barney show, and everybody knew it was the Flintstones. I mean, why they couldn't call it that, I don't know, but anyway, Fred and Barney, well, you know, Flintstones, so what are you gonna do?
Yes. You with the cute ears.
Oh,
Oh.
well, I didn't take it over, but I ended up, yeah. No, he left film altogether. Bill Peet had already established himself as an author of children's books, books that he wrote and illustrated, and so he had a career. He just moved into that career where he could just do his own thing. He was his own boss. He could tell any story he wanted. So I do remember that show you're speaking of, but Bill Peet had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, he was a very successful children's author.
Yeah, yes, he was.
I gave up trying to collect his books because I think at the time there were over 40 children's books.
Yeah.
And the illustrations were just as good as the stories. They were terrific.
Yeah, really talented guy, but once he left Disney, he never went back.
You in a shirt much louder than I would ever dare wear.
What did you do on Toy Story and how did you get that gig?
I was asked to come up to work, not on Toy Story. Well, yeah, actually Joe Ramp asked me to work on Toy Story, but I was busy working on The Hunchback of Notre Dame, I think, at that time. So some years later, I went up to Pixar to work on Toy Story 2. And they asked me to come up to do story development. Pixar at that time was a very small studio. I think people forget how small it was. They had only done one movie. So they were very much an untried studio. I mean, yeah, they'd had one successful film, but that was only one film. They were still in production on Bug's Life, their second film. So when I went up in 1997 to work on Toy Story 2, it was just, I don't know, I think I wanted to go because I was very excited about Pixar. I thought they had showed great potential. So the idea of going up and working with all what I call the kids, because a lot of these guys were young, a lot of them were just out of school. I remembered when a lot of them were still in school, and now here they were making movies that would eventually rival and surpass Disney. Well, Disney solved that problem. They simply bought them. if you can't beat them, buy them. So, but no, it was great. I had a lot of fun at Pixar, and I only went up to do one picture, and that was Toy Story 2. But thanks to my wife, Adrienne, right over here, she let me work on Monsters Incorporated. Because I was supposed to come home and not do any more Pixar films, but she said, I know you want to do it, so you can go back. And so I worked on Monsters Incorporated following Toy Story 2. But had a lot of fun up there, and it's a great little studio. Now it's a great big studio because now they're no longer the little teeny tiny boutique studio. They're pretty big.
Every time you watch Toy Story 2 and see, no, I'm not gonna do that. Every time you see the gag where it says objects are larger in the mirror.
Oh, that guy.
And in the Playmobil that they're trying to get away from Rex, well, that's Floyd's gag.
Yeah. But guess where we got the character Al McWiggin, the toy collector? My only regret is he doesn't wear the Aloha shirt, you know, for some reason. Oh, because of John. Oh, you're right. You're right. John Lasseter wears Hawaiian shirts. They didn't want people to think we were mocking John. That's, you're right about that. You're right.
Nobody worried about
Nobody worried about
mocking. I'm a nobody. I could be the bad toy boy.
You're right about that. John Lasseter wears Hawaiian shirts, and so nobody wanted to put the Hawaiian
This is the first time I've ever heard that.
It is for me too. I never. Okay, why is he wearing that stupid brown shirt? He should be wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
Anyway, it looks like we've got more people in here for the next show. Any one last fast question?
One last fast question.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, but that's unofficial. That's very true. Yeah. Yeah, that kind of thing happens often, and of course Disney steps in and they'll make them take it down. So yeah, it's still out there for people who want to see it. So it's not. But if you want a really cool, pristine copy of the film, that's what we want. We want the film on Blu-ray, DVD, or something even better. So yeah, one day.
And by that time, there definitely will be new technology.
There will be new technology.
Anyway, I know we have other questions, but we got to respect our next panels here. So thank you very much for coming. I always enjoy it.
Thank you for coming. You've been a great audience. Good night, everybody.
The Marvel Masterpiece. That's there. Next.
Okay.
The Marvel Masterpiece. Oh, it isn't here? Yeah, that's what we're sign up. Okay. Yeah, that's why we came in. Okay.
Okay, thank you. I'll check it out.
I can still sign my name. I'm near Scott. I'm near Bronx. Yeah, I'm across from Scott. I'm near Sergio. Yeah. Scott's Toy Barn. I worked on it for 2.5 years. I did. Okay, I'll just use mine. Yeah, I'm near Sergio Aragones. All right. Right when you come in.
Want the aisle? Want the aisle?
I would not be allowed to have that.
It's called using your beam. Occasionally it happens. Sometime I'd like to come more to these conventions. It's pretty close.
Oh, rescue. Oh, something up with his pants.
Other guys were not so lucky, they came around, cleaned the picture, wound down, you know, and they weren't jobs. So you got that against you too, so. But you just have to, I tell people, if you want in, my answer is don't give up. Most people who got in this business wanted in, and they didn't give up until they got in. That's anybody.
Or a real person.
Yeah. My pleasure.
Dude, that's real complex.